Hi and welcome back. In this video I'm going to demonstrate how to write while loops. And we're going to look at two types of while loops. The count controlled while loop and a Sentinel controlled while loop that we'll also use to demonstrate another example of the accumulate until done template. So let's get started. The while loop, just like the for loop, operates on a condition or a relational expression, and the loop iterates or loops while that condition is true. So let's start off, and this will be an example of a count control loop, so let's display hello world 5 times. So the first thing we do is we initialize a variable, our counter, to 1. And then we're going to say while count is less than or equal to 5. So there's our condition, and there's the while loop. So the while loop continually checks the condition at the top and then executes the contents of the loop while the condition is true. Simple enough. And then the last thing we have to do is we have to modify the loop control variable, in this case count, so that it eventually will stop and make this relational expression false. In other words, when count gets to 6. So let's run that program. And there are our 5 hello worlds. So, I always say there are 4 steps in creating a while loop. Design a condition to test. Initialize the condition so that it's true going into the loop, in this case setting count to 1. Perform the task you're trying to perform, that's step 3. And then step 4 is to modify the loop control variable or the condition so that the loop will eventually stop. If you don't do that, if you leave that out, like this, then when you run your program, the loop just runs forever, which you don't want to do. Okay, so, and that is an example of a count control loop. We're counting from 1 to 5 and doing the loop 5 times. So now let's look at a Sentinel controlled loop. So a Sentinel is just a value that you have your program look for and recognize and then perform some action based on that value. In this case, stop the loop. So what we're going to do is we're going to write our grade averaging program again. And this time we're going to use the Sentinel to tell us when to stop. Okay. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to say so we're going to say while grade is not equal to -99, which is a grade you cannot have. Cout, enter a grade. I'll tell you what, we're going to have to do this a little bit different. So hang on, I'm going to fix this. Cm grade. We actually need this prompt outside the loop to start with. Although that's the way I'm going to write it this first time, or this time. Alright, so then inside the loop, here's what we're going to do. We're going to say, okay, the grade gets added to the total. And let's back that up. Wrong way. Sorry. And we need to increment the count by 1. We need count because count's going to be what's going to allow us to get the average correctly. Okay. So, but notice that we need the prompt going in. And then we also need a prompt at the end so that grade can be immediately checked, because that's what's going to happen in a while loop. After the last statement of the loop is executed, then the compiler goes right back to the top and evaluates the relational expression again. Okay, so all that's left to do now is compute the average. And by now we know we got to recast total as a double and divide it by the count, and we're good to go. So, let's see what we get. So we're just going to do 3 grades. I'm going to do them even numbers, so, no, okay. I say that. I'm not going to now, but let's just test it and see. Uh-oh, we forgot to print the average out. Oops. Or we, not we. I forgot to print the average out. Let's try again. This time I'm going to use round numbers to make sure that's working right. Bring that over just a little bit so you can see it better. So 60, 70, and 80, negative 99. Okay, so something went wrong somewhere. So let's take a look. What went wrong? What could possibly have gone wrong? Our total comes up from our grade. Our count is incremented by 1 each time, but notice we didn't increment count either. Okay, so now let's try it again. And again, by using these errors, I'm hopefully showing you the kinds of mistakes you're going to make. And hopefully you won't make them after you see this video. There we go. Perfect. Let's do it one more time. We'll do a few more numbers this time. Oops. And that looks about right. That 77 really pulls the average down along with the 71. So, that's an example of a Sentinel controlled loop that also demonstrates the accumulate until done template, because we accumulate grades and put them in total until we're done by entering a negative 99, which means there are no more grades to read. So, with that, we have wrapped up this video on while loops, and that wraps up our unit on looping. So thanks, and I'll see you in another video.